You know what? I'm seeing a lot of people come on here and say they regretted their vote. I'm seeing a lot of people saying they shouldn't have set this one out. I'm hearing a lot of people saying they shouldn't have voted third party. But you know what I'm not hearing them say? I'm not hearing them say that black woman was right. Kamala Harris was right. Everything that she said that orange son of a bitch was going to do, he's doing it times 10. But they will never come out and say she was right, because a black woman in America can't be right. They chose to go and vote for a convicted felon before they voted for a highly educated, overqualified black woman. Even Obama said she was the most qualified candidate that ever ran for the White House. And you know what they chose to go out and vote for? A convicted felon. A man that was accused, no, he was guilty of sexual assault. He was accused too, but he was found guilty of it. They chose to go and vote for that. And they were happy to do so. They were proud to go out and vote for that. That says a lot about you and your character. You have none. Because if you would go out and vote for a man that was a fucking felon and was guilty of sexual assault, you ain't shit. You ain't worth a damn. You ain't worth the dirt under the bottom of my shoe if you think that is something to go out and brag about. That's why the whole world is laughing at the United States. And that's why we're in the shape we are in, because you let your racism overcloud your fucking judgment. That's why we're here.
MAGA was right, y'all. They said if you voted for Kamala, that gas prices would go up, we'd be in a war with Iran, jobs would be harder to get, the economy would be a mess, and elections would never be the same. Well, I voted for Kamala, and here we are.
Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy our active duty military against our own citizens. Consider the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, and how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States, not to improve your life, not to strengthen our national security, but to serve the only client he has ever had, himself.
Yeah, Kamala Harris was right about everything, and people chose to ignore her warnings out of ignorance and even racism. Now Trump voters are everywhere regretting their vote, but it's too late to regret because she warned you, but you didn't listen to her. So let's get to see more reactions, then I'll come back with more. Please like and hype the video, right? Let's get into it.
Have you guys seen that clip of Donald Trump on Meet the Press yet? If you haven't, you need to search that, because I thought we were told that Kamala Harris couldn't be president because she's too emotional. She would have too many emotions and couldn't be in charge of our nuclear codes. And meanwhile, Donald Trump is throwing a literal fit. His face is turning red as he is screaming at the person interviewing him, saying how crooked she is, and the election was crooked, and every news outlet is crooked. And then he throws his microphone on the ground and says, "I'm done. I'm out of here." This is the stable, emotional genius we were supposed to have. This is why we had to have a man, because he would be so much more emotionally in control. Have you met a man? Have you met a man who has any type of anger issues at all? There ain't no stability there. And Donald Trump is one of the least stable people this world has ever seen. He is the biggest baby. And every time he goes in front of anybody, he calls them out, and then he has an absolute tirade meltdown. And this Meet the Press interview was just one example of thousands.
Y'all want to see what it looks like when a grown man throws a tantrum?
Crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
really.
Let's
when
continue.
You play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
your
about
elections in this country. We're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
He called her stupid. Kristen Welker called her stupid and said either she's stupid or she's crooked. That was a child. That was a grown-ass man throwing a tantrum because he could not get his answers correct. Because that woman would not cave to his BS. She gave me Barbara Walters energy in this interview, and that's why he stormed off. But then he blamed the weather on why he was acting so erratic and childish. He blamed it on the weather and the intense questioning, which wouldn't be that intense if you would just stop lying. All she said was, you have not presented any evidence. That's all she kept saying. We need evidence. And he couldn't handle it. We have a toddler in office. Somebody get him a bottle, change his diaper, and put his ass to sleep.
Your hat says Trump was wrong about everything. It should say you are wrong about everything.
That's adorable.
All right. The board is clear. The board is clear.
Burned. Pam Bondi wrote that for you. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy, and I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'ma love every second of it. I have no doubt in my mind that the map's gonna pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it. Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different forms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to redistrict. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats. It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. We letting our people die in Iran based on false pretense that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent said ain't real. Y'all okay with all that. So I'm positive y'all gonna be okay with the maps.
Tell me when Democrats are going to be finally able to admit that Kamala didn't lose because she's a black woman.
You're right. She didn't lose because she's a black woman. Yeah, she lost because she's a woman. Yeah. These motherfuckers would rather have an orange-faced, shitty pants person with the IQ of a donut, don't know nothing, than they would rather have a woman. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. You stupid motherfucker.
Why do you think she lost?
Oh, she lost because this country is built off racism and sexism. Men aren't ready to be told what to do by a woman just yet. Think about it. Think about the number of men who get a lot of money and divorce their women.
So you think if she wasn't a woman, she probably would have won?
Oh, of course. Just like Bernie Sanders should have won in 2016, but they were too busy pushing Hillary Clinton on us. We have to pay it forward. We have to tell people that it's not just about your president. It's about the people you have locally, people you put in the Senate.
Kamala Harris was right about everything.
He will target and punish those who disagree with him or refuse to bend to his will. He calls these Americans the enemy within and says that he would use the American military to go after American citizens. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like, nonpartisan election officials who refuse to cheat by finding a few extra votes for him, judges who insist on following the law instead of following him. It is for reasons like these that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Donald Trump's top general, has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core. And it is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged and will stop at nothing to claim unchecked power for himself.
If the right to do anything I want to do, I'm the president of the United States.
Do you guys remember this?
And Trump's advisors have created a 900-page blueprint of their agenda for a second term. They call it Project 2025.
And this?
I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
And this, where Trump said, I know nothing about Project 2025 and have no idea who's behind it? Well, this is a post that he made today saying he has a meeting with Russ Vought of Project 2025. Kamala Harris was right about everything.
Believe me, if Donald Trump is president again, at some point or another, that ugliness will touch all of our lives. And it will not matter what you look like, how you worship, who you love, or how you vote. If you don't make 6 or 8 or 12 figures, if you're not famous, if you criticize or disagree with him in any way, if he doesn't view you as his equal or relevant to his ambitions, I promise you, he will not think about you when he gets into the Oval Office.
And everything that we go through with this administration, I'm going to keep saying this. Kamala was right. You can disagree if you want, but I'm going to say it again. Kamala was right. The black woman, she was right. Everything that this man is doing, Kamala said it. And I'm also going to say, she really did win. I'm going to say that over and over again. Kamala was right. People did not listen. The book was open, and you skipped through everything that she said and still decided to go the other way.
The whole global fucking system is broken. We need to dismantle it, and we need to stop trying to work within it. It's time for physical action. If you're waiting for midterms, I don't think you understand how broken everything is already. Our political system is already 6 feet under. As a sociologist, the thing that they teach us is that governments and systems are only as strong as people have faith in them. People have no faith left in the system. So it is useless. And when that happens, you overthrow it and you create a new one. We are past the point of figuring this out within the current system.
One of the biggest lessons from this moment is that campaign promises should be taken seriously because politicians often tell their voters what they intend to do, but people don't take those promises seriously because they believe those policies will only affect someone else, But policies don't stay confined to one group. Their effects spread throughout the economy and affect everybody. And this is why elections do matter a lot, because the decisions you make don't just affect politicians, They affect the prices of groceries. They affect whether people can be able to afford gas, to go to work, They affect farmers trying to keep their businesses alive. They affect seniors living on fixed incomes, They affect immigrants, students, veterans, workers, and the American people. And this is why people must look beyond the slogans and ask questions. What will these policies actually do, Who benefits? Who pays the price? And what will happen if things go wrong, Another lesson is that a democracy requires accountability. Supporting a politician does not mean defending every action that they take. People must hold leaders accountable, whether they voted for him or even not. If a policy is hurting families, you have the right to speak up. If the promises are not being fulfilled, you have the right to demand answers, And if the leaders make mistakes, you have the right to criticize them. Because blind loyalty will not solve problems, but accountability will do. Politicians come and go, but the consequences of their decisions can last with us for years. And that's why people should evaluate results over the rhetoric. It's easy to be inspired by the campaign promises, but people don't stop to ask how the promises will improve people's lives after the election is over, Because at the end of the day, the future of a nation is not determined by one politician alone. It is determined by millions of citizens who make decisions about the values they want the country to reflect, And above all, every vote is a choice, A choice about priorities, a choice about leadership, a choice about policy, and a choice about the future. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.